thank you so much for participating in this project. I'm really grateful and have great respect for you and your opinions. Welcome, Jason Mendelson, co-founder and managing director of Foundry Group, an early-stage technology venture capital firm. Thank you.
Nice to be here.
What's your sweet spot, and in what kinds of businesses do you like to invest?
So we're early stage investors, which means anything from a seed deal for $100,000 on up to traditional Series A and write a check of $8 to $10 million. We invest nationally across the United States. We don't do international, and we're along software IT. We have a number of investment themes that we invest in. Instead of sectors like many venture capitalists invest, we look at the world horizontally. So a theme called, human-computer interaction, for instance, is one of our themes, which is easily to say, what does the next 20, 30, 40 years of interactions between humans and computers look like, i.e. the mouse and keyboard are dead, and what seminal technologies and companies can be built under those themes. And themes like digital media or digital home, digital life, Glue, which is kind of underlying web app architecture, distribution. We have a whole bunch of themes that we invest in. But the easy way to put it is we're software IT guys who do early stage stuff.
Great, thank you. What percentage of women startups do you get pitches for, and what percentage have you funded?
So it's a small number.
Okay.
It's not from a lack of trying. I guess what I'd preface is all of us are very active in trying to help everybody create startups. Women, my partner Brad is the chairperson on the NC WIT board, which is the National Center for Women in Technology. It's actually located here in Boulder, believe it or not. And so we, the pool is small. We recently just closed a deal with a woman co-founder. Her and her brother funded it, called Trigit. So we have a brother-sister team.
Great.
And they're in San Francisco. We're very excited. Traditionally, we've been together 10 years in the past. We've had about a half a dozen companies that we've funded that have been founded by women. One of the companies called Oblong that we funded, one of our first investments, 25% of their engineers are women, including 2 of the 4 executive staff.
Wow, impressive.
And then the other thing to note is we were founders of a program called Techstars, the accelerator program that's now here in Boulder, Boston, and Seattle. And we've really, after the first year when it was all geeky men running around the place, really tried to put forth an effort to recruit more and more women. And we've had about 2 or 3 teams every year now that have been founded by women, and ones that have gone on to raise venture funding. And, the story is still too early to see if these will be successful companies, given Techstars is such a new program. But it definitely has been part of our outreach program. The general manager of the Boulder program is a woman now.
Wow.
So we also think that's going to have a good effect.
Wow, sounds like you're doing some great work there. Thank you.
Well, we're trying.
Have you noted differences with women entrepreneurs in how they pitch and build businesses, obviously in comparison to men?
Well, you're assuming that I can actually group the men into a stereotype. It's really a hard one. Now,
it's generalizing, I know.
Yeah, I don't think from a pitching standpoint I've seen any difference. It's kind of good or bad. To me, I'm judging more on transparency and directness and a whole bunch of other factors. And frankly, I've whether it's racial, sexual orientation, cultural, whatever you have, I haven't really seen anything that I could say, wow, when I meet this person, they act like this. Maybe I could, probably the only group I could generalize would be like really old white guys. But other than that, everybody else has kind of their own voice.
Okay. So you haven't noticed any differences, and that's nice to hear. Cindy Gallop, founder of If We Ran the World, said in a recent interview, VCs fund in their own image, white male. The cycle is self-perpetuating. So predominantly male VCs have a preconceived notion in their heads of what they think constitutes the kind of entrepreneur to back. John Doerr apparently said, if you're white, under 30, tech geek with no social life, and a Harvard-Stanford dropout, line up for VC money. He didn't say male, but he might as well have. If it had been a 17-year-old Russian girl who came up with chat roulette, would there have been as much interest in funding whatever she might do next? So, Cindy's hysterical, I know. But what is your take on this, Jason? And if this is happening, how can women startups find an opening in this culture? And I understand that within your business, this doesn't happen, but obviously it's happening outside of Boulder.
Yeah, it's hard because I will say that I'm happily separated from a lot of that being out here in Boulder.
Great.
And I also think, an early stage investor might have a different. Let's look at it a couple different ways. Let's look at it, one, geography. Let's look at it, two, stage of investment, and then let's, three, try to really address your question.
Okay.
I think geography, when you are in a second tier market like we are, it would be absolutely insane for you to look at yourself in the mirror and say, that's who I'm going to fund. Because if you're going to start the best companies, you need to be a mercenary and invest in the best people. It doesn't matter what race, color, creed, nationality, any sexual orientation, sex, doesn't matter. And we've funded plenty of companies that fit all of these different diversity buckets. It's really the question of what your pool is. Here in Boulder, we have a lot of white people running around the place. It's not the most culturally diverse. I think it's more diverse on a sex basis between people in the system. And I think things like Techstars and INSEE would have helped to build that. I think the other thing as far as early stage investor is you're really basing your idea on somebody who has an extraordinary idea, who you feel committed, that's, a good person and can run this. But, you're not necessarily looking for the person who's run 5 or 6 companies, right? If I was a late stage investor, there may be a bias toward somebody who looked like me because we've invested in a whole bunch of CEOs who can run this. I don't even know because we don't play that game. But the very early stuff, you just invest in the best idea with the best people, and you're blind to that, I think. And I'll go back to, the pool of candidates is less than I think anybody would want. And I think, if you look at the original computer scientists, they were all men. And I think we're still dealing with that legacy.
Yeah.
And, frankly, we're seeing, a great influx of Asian cultures coming into computer science as well, right? They're making huge gains.
Yes.
And there are programs, for instance, like the Carnegie Mellon computer science program that's run out of the EA campus in the Silicon Valley. More than the majority of the people that were in the class last year, I went and guest lectured there, were from Asian backgrounds, but there were a lot of women. And that was good. In fact, one of our companies hired one of them recently in San Francisco.
Great. Okay.
And one other thing to address if you're a 17-year-old dropout, I have a comment that was, it seems cute and it's laughable.
Yes.
I don't think anybody could seriously take that is the real blueprint to how to succeed. And as far as chat room goes, I absolutely zero else who brought it. So I couldn't be less excited about that.
Okay, great.